Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Once again, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and I hope that you had a good Christmas as well if we haven't talked to each other since then. I know it's been a bit since I've done some real videos, but we're back into it now. Family's gone, holidays are over, and I have energy and time again instead of, cooking and spending time with family. So into it we go. Today, what I want to talk about, I was watching one of Hypnotic's videos, and he did one on this fellow. He had a stream a few days ago where, towards the end, he starts getting into basically what his thoughts of the future of gaming YouTube basically is going to be. And Hypnotic had some good thoughts. I know I've probably talked about him before. I think he was one of the guys who was on the Dragon Age panel talking about elves or something like that. But other than that, I don't really know much about him. But I'm going to let him get into it, and I'm going to then say what I want to say.
Number 9, I think the anti-woke gaming grift content, I think it moves on. I think they're going to have to set their sights on either more cultural or political things. They will have to move on from gaming. I think this year will be hard. It'll get harder and harder for that dog and pony show to get good click rate and to get good views.
Now, here's what I have to say about what he's saying is he severely underestimates the reason the so-called anti-woke whatevers are doing this. For myself, for example, I wouldn't call myself anti-woke, but I am a gamer. I'm here to talk about my opinions on gaming. Clicks or not, that's what I'm here for. Is it nice if people watch the videos? Of course. But I'm still going to say what I want to say about gaming. And his entire point, as he goes through his little narrative here, is that it's just going to get harder for them to get the clicks. It's just going to get harder for them to continue to talk about these things. And the thing he doesn't understand is that we are passionate about these games. And when you are a fan of something, when you love something, you can always find a reason to talk about it. And you can always find a reason, and people will always find a reason to listen to things about it. Now, will those things always be bad? No, they won't. And basically nobody that I am aware of has exclusively negatively based content. Some do lean a little bit more into the sensationalism than I personally prefer, and that's just their style. That's the way they do their thing, and that's fine. I really tend to keep myself more grounded. I don't like to over sensationalize things. I don't like to hype them up in a way that really is unnecessary. I just want to talk about the thing. If I can fix the thing or tell people how to fix the thing or how I think we should fix the thing, I will do that, and then I move on. Other people don't. And, that's because they're more based in actually providing entertainment off of it, where I am really just speaking my opinion. And maybe someday, I'll develop the skills where I can be entertaining as opposed to just opinionated. We'll see. Someday, maybe. Probably not. But that's the thing, is people still find just saying your opinion, just stating your opinion, to be entertaining. Because for one thing, you get an opinion. You get something that you can agree with and expound with your own opinions, or you can disagree and argue. And that is what this is about. This isn't about clicks. This isn't about money. This isn't just about getting the biggest base and being the biggest fish in the pond or any of that kind of stuff. It's about a hobby that we're passionate about. And right now, yes, it's going through something very specific in terms of where it is in the cultural zeitgeist. And yeah, some of that is going to fade. I don't think it's going to fade in the next year for sure. There's still plenty of stuff coming out that is going to absolutely bomb. Why he thinks Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to turn things around, I don't know. He's insane. It might do okay. It's not going to do anywhere near what it needs to do. It's not going to be an amazing smash hit. Again, like I said with the Veilguard, it might maybe break even, but I don't think so. I doubt it gets even halfway there. If it hits 1 million in our current climate, I'll be very surprised. Unless people are suddenly flush with money that they can throw away on something like that, I don't see it happening. But that's something someone like this doesn't take into account. All he sees is his tiny little view of things, and he doesn't think about it much past that.
I think it's going to move on. I think the channels that do it, the thumbnails, all of it, I think they're going to move on. It may hit an apex with AC Shadows, but AC Shadows comes so early in the year, I think they'll be forced to move on.
Again, what he misses is that there's going to be so many other games coming out. And right now, if anything, it's going to get worse, because right now, any games that come out, you're going to have two types of games. Developers that foresaw the way things were going to change and started developing towards that. And games that started development in 2018, 2019, 2020, at the height of everything, that thought that was the way to go, all in on it. And there's going to be plenty to talk about in those regards. There are going to be games that come out that are good. Narratively, they'll be good. They'll have good graphics, good stories, but there will still be little things to nitpick. And let's face it, if there's one thing a gamer can do, it's nitpick. So, again, this idea that it's going to die out in the next year, for one, he misunderstands what the people he's saying are going to die out actually do. And for two, it's not going to die out.
That's prediction number 9. Curious what you guys think. You don't think it's going to go anywhere, Alfonso? Yo, what's good, Toshibo? You're not sure you agree? It's definitely a prediction that may not come to fruition, but I think after AC Shadows, I just think they're going to run out of gas. There won't be anything. I don't think there'll be any big enough titles to talk about.
I don't think there will be any titles big enough to talk about. Well, let's see here. How long did people go on about Dustborn? And was that a big title? No, that was some little indie thing that happened to have government funding that flopped harder than Concord, which really you would think it would be a difficult bar to match. But no, it flopped harder than Concord. There are going to be plenty of things to talk about. And that really is the overall problem, is that games journalists, people like them, a lot of the people in the industry even, because they aren't gamers, because they don't even like gamers, as that one community manager for Compulsion Games said, because they don't understand what gamers are here for. They don't understand the people who talk to them. They don't understand the people who are gamers and have YouTube channels. They don't understand what the gamers want to see in games. You can't develop games for people you hate. You can't, because you don't have any desire to understand what they want. If you don't understand what they want, you can't give them what they want, which means they're not going to give you their money. It's really kind of a simple concept there. It's why gaming YouTube commentary channels won't just dry up and go away. Anti-woke or not, they're going to still be here, because we're always going to have something to talk about. The best game in the universe could come out, and gamers will find something to fight about. They will find something to nitpick. They will find something that's a flaw. Someone out there will have a reason to hate it. It's just the way it is. I mean, look at how many people don't like Baldur's Gate 3. My opinion, a fantastic game. In their opinion, it's trash because it's turn-based combat. So, that's how it is. And when you understand gamers, when you understand gaming, when you understand that it's a huge community with smaller sub-communities, honestly, I've had a lot of fun thinking about it this way. What the idea of gatekeeping and everything has put into my mind, the idea of a castle, You have all these individual castles of games and people who guard their gates, but at the same time, you still have to decide who you're letting in. You have to decide who you have to push out. It's a whole big thing in my head because I'm crazy. And that's what it's about. It's about seeing where you connect with others in games and seeing how the game connects with you. And if the game doesn't connect with you, you know what?
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
If you don't like this, don't buy it.
As those ladies so eloquently put it, we don't have to buy things we don't like. And I've been saying that since probably the start of making these videos. You know, if we don't like something, we don't have to buy it. We have finally started taking their advice, and now they seem to realize that we're taking their advice. Except for Alyssa. I don't understand where she thinks she's coming from on it, though I don't know when that was recorded either. Could have been a little while ago for all we know, before we started taking the advice. And now that we're taking the advice, they're seeing that we have an impact. Something they seem to assume is that because you love something, then you must consume it in the way it's presented, no matter what. They seem to feel we have no choice. Of course we have a choice. We have AA studios, we have indie studios, we have backlogs miles long of games that are fantastic that we can play, that we probably already own for the most part. Because let's face it, if you're a gamer, you have an enormous backlog of games you haven't even played yet. So to try to say that we don't affect the market, that we don't matter, we do. And the anti-woke YouTubers or gamers or whatever you want to call them are just as much of a part of it because they are gamers. They're gamers just like everyone else. They just happen to get out there, speak, and people agree, or else they wouldn't have a following. It's funny how that works, you know? We are entering an era where gamers have a louder voice, and it's kind of nice, you know? It's kind of nice to see people be able to speak up, to actually be heard. And the people like these, Reforge Gaming and G4, everything else that has come before that tried to represent the actual gamers, but was really, you know, just that corporate mouthpiece that was needed at the time because of the time we were in, they're dying. I don't know that they last the next year. They probably will. To be fair, they probably will. It'll be a little while before that totally resolves its way out and the decentralization of gaming news is complete, which is where we are headed. That is what's going on right now, is that gaming news isn't being left in the laps of a few select people who were handpicked from the industry through nepotism and friendships and all that other stuff. Instead, it's gone to the point where you can go into YouTube, you can go into Rumble, you can go on X and find people who talk about games that they play and actually give you their opinion based on the fact that they played it. And you don't have to listen to just one of them. You can find dozens and hundreds of people talking about the same game with 100 different points of view on it. You can find personalities that jive with you. You can find people you hate if that's what you're looking for. If you want to find someone that you want to yell at, you can go out and do that. And that is beautiful. That is what gaming needs, is that it needs the direct contact from gamers. And it's where we're headed, no matter what someone like this says. I think he's going to find it harder over the next year to really keep his content going, because his content seems to be centered around the industry. I mean, and not the industry in the same way, in saying things that the game developers want to hear, that the game companies want gamers to hear, as opposed to gamers talking to other gamers, corporate shills talking to gamers. So you can find someone that you want to argue with, or you can find someone who agrees with you. You can build yourself your own echo chamber. I don't recommend it, but you can. Or you can build yourself a diverse pantheon of personalities, if you like the alliteration, and find people who feel different ways, that have different opinions, that can give you a broad overview of the games you're interested in. You can be very focused. You can be very broad. You can make of the experience what you want to make. And that is beautiful. That is where we need to go. And that is what gaming needs, because gaming's never been about just one group. It's never been about just one thought pattern. It's never been about just one type of game. Gaming is diverse on its own. We don't need people to force it to be that way. And that's all we've been saying this whole time, is that gaming is diverse on its own. If you want to tell a story, you can tell whatever story you want. Now, that doesn't mean someone wants to listen to your story, but that's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. And I'm glad we're living in a time that it can be that way. So all that said, it's been a little while since I've given a puppy update. And I do have a couple pictures that I want to share. I went ahead and weighed everybody and tried to do a picture as they were sitting in the little bowl. Here you see the firstborn, Cassandra. She is 3 pounds, 4 ounces. She is a big girl compared to her sisters. After her comes Betty at 2 pounds, 14 ounces. She did not want to sit still, so her picture's just a little blurry. She was absolutely terrified of sitting in the bowl, which, I don't know, I found astounding because he was really just sitting in a little bowl, but all she did was keep jumping out. So trying to get a picture of her and the weight at the same time was not easy. And then you have brave little Carolyn at 2 pounds, 9 ounces. I put her in the bowl. She sat there. She looked at me. She let me take the picture. She had absolutely zero problems with the whole process. Of them all, she was the absolute easiest. She's also the curliest of them, the meanest of them, and I don't know, just kind of the most rambunctious. When everybody else is sleeping, she is causing trouble. She is an absolute troublemaker. And then the youngest and the tiniest at 2.2 pounds, 2 ounces. You have Violet, who is just such a sweetheart. Her and Betty got out the little dog flap the other day. And with the weather as it currently is, she was the smart one and turned around and came back in the house. Betty had to be fetched once we realized that they had managed to escape. Which didn't take that long. So no one was at risk. It was just kind of funny that you're constantly sitting around the house as they're wandering around and doing puppy counts to make sure that you know where all 4 are, especially now that they've learned that they can get out the back flap. But everybody's doing healthy. They get their 8-week shots this Thursday, and then it's time to start looking for their homes. I do believe I'm going to be keeping Violet, so I've got 3 puppies to find a home for. But they are absolutely sweet little girls, and I don't doubt for a moment that I will find them all really good homes. It might just take me a minute because I do want to make sure wherever they go, they get snipped. All that said, guys, what do you have to say about anything I've said here? I'm always curious to have your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.